Hey, I know what you're thinking. This gate behind me, it's just an ordinary gate. There's nothing special about it. How's this gonna kill anybody? Oh yeah, let's just go. Well, if you stick around and watch the whole video, you'll know how dangerous these can be. Let's just go for broke. And how you can protect yourself if you're ever around one or ever put one in at your place. All right, so this is with the force reversal at about 50%. So we'll see where we're at now. This is our biggest knife. What we have installed on this to make sure that hopefully it isn't gonna hurt anybody is we definitely have our loops. That's to help cars. What it is, a big magnetic field that senses metal driving across it. You know what's not made of metal? What's not made of metal, Dan?
I'm not made
You're
of metal.
not made of metal, so it's not made to detect you. What is made to detect you are these photo eyes, which you are very familiar with. They have a very specific height that they have to be above ground, and they have a very specific distance from the gate that they can be. They've got to be within 5 inches of the gate. And I think it's between 19 and 27 inches. Don't quote me on that, look up your literature. I just always set the eye right at 24, and I know that's good. The reason we set it at 24, I don't want somebody easily being able to step over that, and I also don't want it so low that grass, weeds, shrubs, things like that can easily grow up in front of it. In the back of the gate, we have an edge. So we have two different types of safeties. The one in front is called non-contact, and that means it does not have to come in contact with me to work. This is a contact sensor, and it will actually have to come in contact with you or a vehicle to be able to work. Now, the nice thing about these safeties is they work on both vehicles and pedestrians, although it's very important to note these are not made for pedestrians. And if you're gonna install a gate like this, you need to have a walk gate somewhere on the fence perimeter. What do you think, Dan? Is this gate operator overkill for our application?
This gate operator is overkill for our application.
I'm gonna guess this gate probably only weighs about 400, 500 pounds. This thing is absolutely home improvement, Tim the Toolman Taylor, more power.
Dude,
It's way more than we need.
Oh yeah.
We did have the shop make these really good heavy duty chain brackets. Now this is a lot heavier than anything you're gonna see before, because usually it's just a piece of plate welded right here. With what we're gonna do, we decided we'd beef this up, but I have had a problem with a lot of these operators not having very good chain mounting brackets. If you need good chain brackets because you're sick and tired of the cheap ones that fall off and you can't put enough weld on, there'll be a link down below. We'll put these in our shop. We'll make these out of steel for 2 3/8 pipe here, but they'll also work with 1 7/8 with a little bit of welding, and then we'll make them flat, so in case you want to put it on a flat gate. But these, we're gonna see how much abuse these can take, probably more than the pipe. And they've got tons of adjustability, which I also like. Let's get to the real reason you came and show you what this thing can do. Or actually maybe what it shouldn't do. Let's do some stuff.
Let's do some things.
What I want to do is I want to show some scenarios of how gates can be dangerous if not installed correctly. We might have gone just a little over the top, maybe, but it's to illustrate a point with your gate at your place, or maybe some gates that you're using that are at a facility, because most of the safeties are where, Dan?
Nowhere to be found.
At the store, that's where they're at. They're at the store because nobody ever bought them because they didn't want to put them on. I got in a lot of trouble making a video about a certain operator because it didn't have any of this stuff. The dirty little secret of the industry is we're going to provide them so that we help limit our liability, but we're not going to make you put them on. Now they make you put them on, and we'll show you why. You see this sign right here? People look at this and they're like, it's ugly, I don't want it there. But this sign actually says something. May cause serious injury or death. One of the other things that we're very careful to do is not add all the swords on the end. You're thinking to yourself, well, Mark, this is just ridiculous. Why would I weld swords on the end of my gate? Well, what we do weld on the end of our gates is we weld a lot of stuff like this bolt sticking out. We have stuff like this sticking out. We have people that will put catches on there, and what happens is that gate closes, people are trying to race the gate, but what we're worried about is if anything's here, it impaling you. And we're about to show you how much force these gates can generate. The DC motor that's in that gate is in a lot of other gates, and these things are powerful. They will mess you up. Can we talk about another thing, like how hard it was to overcome the safeties so that I could do this? It wasn't easy. Well, okay, I mean, it was easier for me, but don't do it. Now, most of the gates have what is called a force reversal. That's where this switch is right here. It will actually reverse the gate with less pressure. So we're gonna turn this thing down to where it just barely operates in its normal parameters, but as soon as it encounters any kind of obstruction whatsoever, the gate shuts down. We have the force reversal turned all the way down. Oh yeah, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. What is it gonna do? Oh, see? We only went in about that far with the force reversal turned all the way down. Now we're gonna set it for about midway. Midway, we'll reset it. All right, so this is with the force reversal at about 50%. So we'll see where we're at now. This is our biggest knife. Ooh, we made it in there good. Next up, all the way. Yeah, we're almost all the way through it. If it would have gone just a little bit more, I think we're all the way through all the sheet metal. And you can see it, like was trying to push the car off the forks. It's kind of crazy. So what we'll use is we'll use this big foam block here that's used for target practice. Okay, this is all the way up. Let's just go for broke. Man, I wouldn't want that thing going into me. That's a solid foam block. Ooh. So we cut this off the end of the gate. Dan thought it might be a good idea to show you how much it takes to actually try and shove this in. Now, keep in mind, this is a lot sharper point than the other one, so I should have an easier time, and this hasn't been run through a bunch of sheet metal yet, so. Like, that's as hard as, that's like, with everything I've got, that's all I can get it in there. That much. I can barely sink the point. Like, that thing is doing some serious damage. There's serious force behind it. We've now turned the gate all the way down so that it will operate, and I mean all the way down. We can't turn it down anymore. And even at the lightest setting, it probably shoved that in every bit as far as I would have with my hand. That's gonna mess you up. And this isn't to say that you're gonna weld knives to the end of your gate, but we're showing you some other stuff to help illustrate if you still think that that's silly, because there's a lot more power here than you realize. So one of the things people will talk about is impalement here on the front edge, like we've been talking with their knives, because people will weld things. If you're gonna weld things on this front leading edge, it has to be over 9 square inches, so your latch or whatever. We just welded a piece of 3/4 inch rebar on here that is less than 3/4 of an inch square. So it has to be probably 12, 13 times this to be able to be compliant with UL 325. The reason is for impalement. If this gate closes and somebody tries to beat it like a train, we don't want you becoming one with the gate. We want you to use the gate, not become part of the gate. Yeah, that's right. We're gonna do a little yoga today on the fence show. Give her the beans, Dan, give her the beans. Oh yeah, let's just go. That was all the way down. Can't get me, can you? No. Ooh, yeah. Like I can only squish it like that much. That's a lot. Okay, let's see if we can pop it. Go for it. We got this, we can do this. We can do hard things. Right in there, yeah, right in the middle. Oh, that wasn't even a problem. See if you can poke a hole in it with that 3/4 inch bar. Oh, you got it, okay. I offered a lot of resistance since that thing's completely blunt. All right, one down. Everybody knows these are a lot tougher. You can't do anything to these. Go for it, Dan, let's do it. I wonder how close we are to that tire. If we helped it. Oh yeah, no problem. I think we could throw that away. What's a ball gonna offer that a tire doesn't? See if I do this, then I can't miss. Oh yeah, that was, whoo! There goes $12.95. You're gonna hang on to the gate, I'm gonna hang on to the gate. We're gonna see if together we can stop it. I'm gonna latch in. You're gonna have to get it with both hands. Like, we're gonna need everything we got. Okay, so if you think it's stopping when it hits you, no, not until you're really feeling it. And then you're gonna need a doctor after you be feeling it. Now is the real feat of strength. We're gonna break boards. Oh, let's talk about something else. Before we do this, let's just walk right over here real quick. This is a keypad. This is a wireless keypad, meaning it's communicating through smoke signals with the gate operator over there. The cool thing about this is that it's actually compliant. And you're probably saying, now how is this keypad compliant? It looks like a keypad, it has numbers on it. Well, Normally what we see is that keypad would be right here because there's already a post there, and we had to actually set that post special just for that keypad. So most people will attach it here or right here or at the post back there. The problem is that keypad needs to be at least 6 feet away from any motorized part of that gate. Here we go. Here we go. That's more than 6 feet right there. We're good. Remember that, because I see that everywhere. And the reason they don't want that is because they don't want somebody trying to operate the gate with the keypad while simultaneously maybe having arms through the gate. Which brings us a couple other things real quick if I may. Because we want to make sure that everything's safe, you've got to have a blocking here. It would be really great to have a edge on this post. Not required. We didn't do that here, but we did put this filler panel in here, and our squares are small enough so that 2 1/4 spheres can't fit through them, which is the requirement, which is why 2-inch mesh works. So any 2-inch gap is fine. Anything 2 1/4, like if you put a ball and it passes through it, it's not fine. Another thing we didn't talk about on this gate, but would be a big deal on swing gates, is that if you're going to weld anything below here, you really can't have stuff below here. This is a stop, we could trim this off. We don't want anything hanging down, especially on swing gates, because it could drag you with the gate and then run you over. So you're probably wondering why all this stuff is super important, and it is because you open yourself up for liability as a homeowner if you allow your gate not to be safe and UL 325 compliant, and you open yourself up to liability as an installer likewise. Now, if one person doesn't uphold their end of the deal and the installer does the right thing and the homeowner comes behind them and undoes all the right things, then it becomes on them because there's probably evidence of that. A prime case of this is a case in Wyoming going on right now where somebody installed a gate, had no safeties, had no loops, it didn't have any of these loops in the ground, so it did, not only did it not know there were cars there, it had no idea there were people there. The bad thing about this is it was on a storage facility. The kid was screwing around, somehow got tied up in the gate, and it freaking crushed his leg. And now there's a huge case for I don't know how much money, but I don't want to guess how much money. They're fighting over who's liable. If you don't want to get in those fights, make sure it's UL 325 compliant and just know the big issues. Just watch your safeties. Make sure they have batteries, make sure they're clear. If you do those two things, you'll have very, very few issues unless there's adverse weather events that are in your area. We were talking about the gap filler. I'm going to try and illustrate to you why we do that. Now this ball is much bigger than a 2 1/4 sphere, but we'll show you what can happen when you don't do everything right. Go ahead, Dan, open the gate. Oh yeah, little Johnny's over here screwing around. Oh yeah, now he's in the gate. Oh, that's kind of a problem, isn't it? Because now he's stuck inside the gate because it sucked him in with it. Poor Johnny there, he's a little uncomfortable at the moment. Could you get Johnny out of there for us, please, Dan? Don't worry, Johnny, this is only gonna hurt for a second. Oh. I tried to catch him, but he probably wasn't conscious anyhow. That's why we protect those gaps. Now, if you can imagine little Johnny, and we have stuff welded to the bottom of our swing gate, and it catches his pant leg or something, and then it's dragging him around by his pant legs, or maybe it's dragging Sue around by her pigtails because she was trying to crawl under the gate and the gate started to operate. These are big problems. These are all things that have happened and why they're so careful to make sure that their operators are safe. The manufacturers don't want to get sued, we don't want to get sued, and I don't think the homeowners want to get sued. We all just don't want to have to open gates. It's that simple. You ready? Yep. You got your remote? Yep. You can hold the other end of the board. Oh yeah, whew, that's, ow. Hey, I hope you've learned something here today. These gates are great. We love them. We have it at all our facilities. We don't want to open gates any more than you do. But if you're gonna spend the money to install one, please, please make sure not only that it works, but make sure it's installed safely. And if you're at all interested in starting a fence business like this, then be sure to check out swifencefranchise.com, where we are now going to become the nation's fence company, and you could be a part of it. Man, but until next time, I'm Mark with SWI in Wyoming.
I'm Dan with SWI.
And we had fun breaking stuff, and I hope until next time you have a good dang day.